to realize our need for God, to make time to spend alone time with Him, that we wouldn't need a priest or a preacher because God gave us a Savior, that gave us access to a Father, that when we submit to a process, not of our making, but of His, we can be initiated as men into true masculinity, that we can be led by Him so we learn how to lead, that we can be loved by Him so we learn how to love. This is Ponds and Beavers.
Hey guys, man, I'll be honest, I don't know really what God's wanting me to share. Man, I've got so much that He's shown me, and my biggest thing is always relevance. What's relevant? And in order to make something relevant to you, to me, to the world that desperately needs truth, at the very least, we need encouragement from each other, man to man. God is having a lot of men right now, I feel like, just stepping out in obedience and doing things, and it may even feel radical, it may even look radical. But I'll just start with this, something God just showed me that it just hit. I was talking with my wife, and it was just like this huge sort of wave of profound wisdom. I was like, man, God's on another level. And it's basically this, that we're so terrified of appearing crazy, looking crazy, that we end up being crazy. And here's what that means. Because, when God shows you something, it's like all of a sudden He just downloads this whole thing, like all at once, boom. And not always, sometimes it's sort of a slow kind of visual, but it's still, we're talking a few seconds, but He'll just boom, download this big thing. And so, it's like He told me that and showed me that, and it was so clear, but also He, at the same time, kind of explained like what that means. And it may seem obvious, but basically what that means is we're so terrified of what God will have us step out to do, and it terrifies us so much. Like, we're so scared because it looks crazy. It looks crazy to us, but then we go further and we say, well, because it looks crazy to us, that must look insane to everyone else. And God's like, no, son, it looks crazy, but you're actually going to become the crazy one if you don't step out. Lately, God's been kind of showing me this picture of a lot of people feel this way towards God. I think that He has us out on a limb, right? Or He's left us out to dry. And here's the cool thing. The cool thing is that we so live on the surface that we can easily see that and spot that and say, oh, God, why would you have me out on a limb, or why would you have me, flopping around in the wind, hanging me out to dry? And it's like, well, we don't ever stop to think, maybe we're soaking wet. Maybe we need to dry off. What do you do with something that's soaking wet that you don't want to just throw in the dryer? You hang it to dry, right? I try not to dry my jujitsu gi anymore, because I'm terrified that thing's gonna like shrink up, and it already fits me kind of perfect. I would hate for it to get shrunken up. So what do? I sit it out and I let it dry. I mean, if I didn't do that, it would get all nasty and smell weird. But see, we don't think that way. We think on the surface. We only see the surface, so that's just where we're gonna live. Oh, God, you're leave me flopping around in the wind and all this stuff. How dare you, God? And we get angry at Him and maybe bitter. We turn our back from Him, and all the while He's like, you're soaking wet. What do you want me to do? I can't throw you in the dryer. You'll shrink up, that whole thing. And then the whole limb example, right? Oh God, why am I out on this limb? Why do I feel like I'm on a tightrope and I'm balancing and this is so hard? Poor me, and God's like, I have you out on this limb because you're a bird and you're meant to fly and you've got wings. Use your wings. But see, that's where we get into this whole appearing crazy. See, the last thing we want is to look crazy. The last thing we want is to appear crazy to other people, to other guys, right? That's the last thing we want. We want to look strong and capable, and oh, we're men, oh yeah, we're squared away, and we've got EDCs and blah blah blah, and God's like, you're so tired, you're so terrified of looking crazy to other people, other men, that you're not willing to do the thing that I'm putting in your heart to do, the crazy thing that I've put as a direction, as a guidance, as a step of obedience to take. And so you're not going to do that thing. But here's the reality. The reality is that you're the crazy one if you don't follow God. You're actually the crazy one if you don't believe that it's God, if you don't trust God and take that step of obedience. You're the crazy one. Welcome to the crazy society of people. Welcome to the world. Look at the world. You think the world got that crazy by following God and being obedient to Him? No. It's the opposite. And that's what the devil says. The devil says, no, don't you dare get those wings out. Those tiny little wings, they're not going to hold you up. You're going to come crashing down, and you're going to hit that ground. You're going to fail. Don't step out. You're going to fail. Don't even try. You're going to fail. No, we're the crazy ones when we don't believe and when don't obey. And you know what? Let's leave belief out of this. There's plenty of things that God asks me to do, tells me to do, commands me to do, if I'm being honest, and I do it, and I don't even believe it. I may not even believe that something good's going to come of it, and I'll just be honest. But I obey in spite of what I believe, and that's a kind of another, I think, rabbit trail going. Maybe not rabbit trail. That's like a whole nother thing to discuss, but. Obedience is powerful, and obedience it ought to trump what we believe, because this isn't conditional obedience. That's not how it works with God. It's either you do it His way or you take the highway of your way, and that's it. It's, hey, my way or the highway, buddy. It's your choice. But God is promising us that we will be the crazy ones. We will be crazy, whether we look crazy or not. See, the foolishness of the wisdom of God is foolishness to man, and it works the other way around, right? And so what we think is so wise, we're actually the crazy ones, even if it looks like we're the sane ones, even if it looks like we're squared away and we're, all the things, right? So anyways, I hope that encourages you. I'll stop there. I'll be kind of talking more about maybe some different things God's shown me, but I'll stop there. But yeah, guys, like I always say, make time. It's so important to make time to get alone with God, and that ought to be our foundation. And again, a part of knowing what God's wanting us to be obedient in is spending time with Him, is having that close proximity with Him. So anyways, make time to get alone and spend time with God. So yeah, see ya.